Hey, Paul, what are you doing? What is that?
Waiting for you to start the show.
You don't do yoga. You don't meditate, do you?
No, meditation I dabble in. Yoga is a little difficult for me. I'm not very limber.
I can't really clear my mind for meditation. I guess that's the whole point, but I just can't, right? Do you have those nights where you can't sleep?
No.
Really?
I sleep like a baby.
Huh. That was like a snap call for you. Like, it wasn't even like...
You know, because I used to have a problem sleeping. And now I don't go to bed until I'm tired, and I read before bed.
The reading really works.
Or I play chess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm tired. Going to bed. Bye.
How's your week been? What have you been up to?
Really good. How was yours?
Well, I went to Chicago.
Yeah. I showed Lisa the picture of your boys in the outfit. She's like, that is adorable.
Yeah, so we took the boys, Gio and Hank, 9 and 6-year-olds. We took them to Hamilton, and we got them like little colonial costume.
Did they wear it there?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Full hat, full regalia.
Were they the only ones dressed like that?
Yes, they were.
But everybody was probably like...
There weren't that many kids. I saw, maybe a total of, 10 kids would be too many out of maybe 1,000 people. But
Was it good?
It was great. I mean, I love it. I would literally go back next week and do the same thing, pay all the money and do it all over again. It was great.
And your boys were singing along with all the songs?
They were singing along, and so the song would pop up, and they'd turn to me, and, oh, this is this song, and it was incredible. Chicago's great. It was marathon week.
Oh, wow, busy week.
Yeah, so 45,000 runners, and then apparently something like... I don't
More like
know.
45,000 losers.
You don't like running?
No.
Losers, just for... So, folks, you'll have to learn that every time Paul insults a whole demographic, our potential guest list sort of shrinks a bit. So,
if you've ever ran in your life, I don't want you on the show. I don't want you to even watch the show.
Losers. So you can see, folks, when people call and say, hey, Seth, I love your podcast with your cocky friend.
Hey, cocky is kind of endearing to me. I mean, it's better than... Who's that asshole you're on the phone on the show with? Oh, that's Paul.
So anyway,
I can't run. I can run. I'm a very, very fast runner, but marathons are not my bag, baby. So
you've been working with our business, Crossroads Media.
We have our meetings this afternoon.
Yeah, 2:00.
Yeah.
It's been going great. We have a lot to talk about today. I feel really good. I mean, the tides have shifted from like at the beginning of a business to like we're working together and things are doing great. But as I've said multiple times on the podcast, you've taught me like little things, just as simple as getting 6 things done a day, which you weren't the first person to tell me this, but you keep reiterating because I surround myself with you a lot. And man, yesterday I swear I did more in 3 hours than I've done in sometimes a week, I would say, just like banging out lists of just
Isn't
stuff.
It incredible?
Yeah. I still not micromanage, but I still multitask a bit. And so I have a hard time, like I'm in this project and then, boop, here comes an email or something. And oh, wait a minute, that now supersedes this project that could go in the back burner. And so...
what happens if you don't get that email for something? What happens if you're in Hamilton and an email comes in? Do you leave Hamilton?
No, I don't. So
what happens when you're making sweet love to your wife and an email comes in?
I answer it while
mid thrust.
Does
that garner our explicit rating for this episode?
No, we're still clean.
Fuck.
And now we get an E.
I used to believe in being a micromanager, and I've just realized over time it's a crock of shit. What we need to do is, Matt Jensen, my chess coach. Should I say his last name?
Is he for hire?
I don't know. Either way, he and I talk a lot about getting things done, being efficient. And he's been talking to me about deep work lately. There's a book that he got, and I just recently purchased it. It's on its way to my house. The book is not called Deep Work. It's about how you work very deeply in tranches. So, for example, what I would try is put my email away for 30 minutes and get my certain things done. 15 minutes, pull my email up, pull my phone up, answer my necessary texts, and it's starting to make a lot of sense to me. And I feel like I'm a very efficient guy, but look at me. I still work on being more and more efficient. But, the more and more I hear people say, well, I'm too busy to do this, I'm too busy to do that, I'm just like, oh, okay, sounds good. And when people talk about multitasking, and I know what you're saying by that, but what I've realized about multitasking, I used to always say like, oh, I'm such a multitasker. Now I've realized about multitasking, it's just not focusing. And when we don't focus, we get less stuff done. The first time this ever dawned on me was reading that book, Great at Work.
Yeah.
It's like about do less but obsess.
Yeah.
It's not just have a focused job. It's do less but obsessed in every single moment. Like, hey, for the next half hour, I'm going to tackle these 4 things, and I'm going to get these done in the next 30 minutes. I'm going to put my phone away, because guess what? If your phone rings and you don't answer it, you should tell your wife, honey, I'm doing something for the next hour. If you can't get a hold of me, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like I would probably contact Mikey and Lisa and say, guys, if you try to get a hold of me in the next hour, you're not going to be able to do that. Other than that, whoever calls me, calls me. If you need me, text me, leave me a message, write me an email, and I will get to it when I'm done. Because guess what? The world's not going to end if all of a sudden you don't answer an email like that. Listen, we get a lot of, Dynasty Owner, our startup we were talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes us 3 or 4 hours to respond to a message, and people still think we're phenomenally responsive. They're like, man, you were so responsive. I'm like, great. I thought 3 or 4 hours. And by the way, when I say 3 or 4 hours, on 20% of the messages, the rest are answered within the hour. And I feel like we're slacking on it. But 3 or 4 hours is still acceptable. I thought to myself, yeah, if I email somebody and they respond to me in a couple hours, I'm like, wow, that's pretty responsive.
I would say so, yeah.
But yet, why do I insist that I respond within 4 minutes?
That's what I do too.
Why do we do that?
It's funny is I was in the that's a beautiful watch, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Is it new?
No, I've had it for a year and a half.
I was in our Columbus office.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a barren room, and that's when I got a bunch of stuff done.
Yeah.
Like, kids weren't around. I mean, I work at home with Beth, but like even she's not around to just ask me anything. And I was just in like this barren office, and that's when I smoked like this whole to-do list.
It's
it was
wonderful.
incredible.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So there's a lot to learn from that.
We all get distracted. It's just a matter of how do we limit. In our sales department, we put the phones away for 2 or 3 hours at a time. Literally, when I say away, we have a box in the front of the sales department. Everybody puts their phone in there and tackles their stuff.
It really happens?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
It literally says in there, like, cell phones here. Because we talked about it 2 years ago, or last year at one point, about doing that for our regular office. And I just look at going, God, imagine how much stuff we could get done. I was called an overachiever this weekend because I sent somebody a text literally 20 seconds after. But I was also available. It was 10:30 at night, and I was like, oh, well, I'm here. I'll just take the screenshot, send them a text, and they're like, overachiever. I'm like, what? Like, you just jumped on. I'm like, well, first off, I just feel like getting things done. It's 10:30 at night. But if it was in the middle of the day, that's a bad example. I'd probably done that. It literally took me half a second. But I do worry about I worry about me sitting there and worrying so much about the things that have to get done that I don't get them done. Like coming down here today, there was a big task I had to do that I didn't get done. And I'm like, okay, it has to be done at some point today. It'll probably be done at 9 o'clock tonight, which bothers me because in the last 80 days, I've gotten it done before 11 o'clock, probably 95% of the time, 11 a.m. So I'm looking at those things thinking, but I knew why. I got distracted in some group chat debate about LeBron's comments about China. Because I was defending his comments, even though I'm not a big fan of LeBron's, views on things. I was defending his comments and why he said it. And I'm like, here I go. I just completely got rid of this time I could have spent doing something more efficient. But either way, we talk about these things and it's about implementing them. And once you do, little by little, I read something the other day, self-discipline. Let me get this right. Self-discipline is doing what you have to do, even though you don't want to do it. That's the definition of self-discipline or something along those lines. And I thought it was a brilliant quote because it's absolutely true. If you do something you're not supposed to do, but you don't want to do, but you have to do it, that's awesome. And imagine how many times in our lives we haven't done that.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it.
Of course. Daily.
And it's fun now. I love getting things done now. I really get high off of it.
So how does this translate? You wanted to bring up the idea of micromanaging. How does this translate from implementing these ideas to your staff over multiple businesses? How does this translate through all of this micromanaging?
So this micromanaging came up as a conversation last week with Tim. So Tim runs Dynasty Owner, our fantasy football startup, dynastyowner.com. Check it out. We're in a beta season, and we have 3 developers in India. 4 if you include the design guy. We have two or three developers here in the States. In 1 week, he had a very tough week. He's like, Paul, we have all these mistakes. They're not getting fixed fast enough, blah, blah, blah. So I said to Tim, I go, Tim, I think now you actually need to micromanage. And I hate micromanaging. But where we are in the game right now, I felt that the developers had too much leeway on what to work on. And I was like, Tim, I don't think that's working. They're obviously not listening. We don't have the time right now or the ability to go change developers. And we don't really want to. All these guys are skilled. All our guys in India are very skilled. I just think they sometimes have a hard time picking. They're like, oh, I'll pick that one. It's because it's the easiest task to fix, as opposed to, no, but this, he'll literally say, do these in order 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden he gets 3 back. He's like, well, I didn't really tackle. It's like, no. So I said to him, listen, if they're not going to listen, you need to micromanage. And what does that mean? You're going to hand them individually each task one at a time. The previous week, we got 15 big things done. In 3.5 days, he got 16 things done through the developers. And I said to him, I go, Tim, it's because of the micromanaging. Now, this micromanaging is being done, which I hated, but at the same point, it was being done the right way because now they're going to get a habit forming. And what's that habit? When Tim gives us something, we handle it, we get it done, and we move on. And that's the goal. Now it won't be Tim literally saying to them, it'll be Tim writing them an email saying, here are your 3 tasks for the next 2 days, get them done in this order. And they'll know if we don't, we're replaced. Mm-hmm. And it's not meant to be a jerk and be threatening. It's just saying, listen, we saw how it went when we sat there and said, do it in the order. Because Tim's a smart guy. He knows what Tim's talking to the users every day. Tim's using the game every day. He's testing things every day. He knows what's needed. I mean, I give him credit. I fucked up the mobile part. He wanted to do mobile a long time ago. I said, no, we don't have time right now. We'll get it done before the season starts. Well, sure enough, we didn't get it done before the season starts. We lost a lot of engagement. It hurt us. We're rebounding now from that. But Tim's smart about those things. I just said to him, Tim, as much as I hate to say it, you need to micromanage right now. His micromanaging is temporary. There are people who believe in permanent micromanaging, right? Where I have to micromanage everything.
I've worked for some.
Of course. And you've been that, I'm sure, at some point, right? Yeah. And we all have done that. We've all worked for that. We've all bid that. The question becomes, what is your goal? If you're a one-man shop and your job, or one-woman shop, and you just want to, that's fine. You have to micromanage because it's all you. But if you want to grow, micromanaging in the long term is not going to work. If you have to I always tell people, I micromanage you because you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The devs weren't doing what they're supposed to do. So Tim had to micromanage them. But these devs are smart. They're good developers. We will get them into the right process and the right way to do things. And we see that in them. A lot of other people I micromanage, I hate to say it here in the States, if I'm micromanaging you, we're going to have a problem. Like, that's not a good thing. I should not be micromanaging you. For some reason.
How do you keep finding the right people? Because it doesn't seem like...
churn and burn.
Yeah?
Yeah, you have to do that. And it sounds awful. What are you talking about? Listen, if I see hope in you, I will gladly keep working with you. But if I don't see hope in you, it's how fast can we move apart? How fast can we move? And it's funny. I remember 12 years ago, I remember seeing somebody, one of our property managers in Columbus fired somebody first day. I was like, why? Like, well, they asked me this, and this. And I was like, no. You're missing the point. I was like, that's so rude. Now I get it 100%. I actually respect, I don't even think they're good. They're not a good property manager at all, but I respected the fact they sat there and said, listen, this is our system. If you don't like the system, more power to you. Mm-hmm. But this is our system, and it works for us because we have so many layers. We have to make sure we do our system the right way. And I get that now. And when it comes to finding the right people, we give them personality tests. That's one way.
Oh, yeah, I got one.
You did?
What was the point of that?
Just to see, personality tests, there is no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, they're strange. If you've never taken one, they're incredibly weird questions.
Yeah, but some
of them are really weird.
Like what? I'm trying to think what a weird one would have been.
It was just like...
They give you like, do you prefer this or this?
Yeah, but they're so... they're like, what do you prefer? And it's like riding a bus or...
scalping a cat. You're like, oh, I'll do the bus.
And it's like, I have no idea. I guess I'll choose this one.
Yeah, and that's their point. So the whole thing about we take the personality test not because we want to say who's going to be a fit for us necessarily. It's how do they need to be managed? That's a big reason we get the personality test. It is also, are they a good fit? Because there's certain things we want to see. Like achiever is a big thing we want to see in people. Do they want to achieve above and beyond what's expected? But it's also, hey, this person right here, they're to the point. If you're matter of fact with them, they're going to respond a lot better than sugarcoating it. But this person over here, you need to sugarcoat it.
That's the first. I've had multiple jobs. It was the first one I've ever taken.
Really?
Yeah.
And guess what? we don't think there and say, oh, you have to live and die by this thing. But
Sure.
we use it as a tool as part of all the other things we do, right?
Well, I got the results back, and it was pretty spot on, I think. Like, everything was saying, you know,
What did it say about you? I don't remember.
God, I wonder if I could pull it up. Is it from you?
It's from, it was done by Gallup, but I think it was the Strength Finders. Clifton Strength Finders.
Strength.
Strength. I can do all things through Christ with strength.
Strength finder. Strength finders. No results. That's nice. Oh, wait, let me try again. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I was just shocked because
I mean, they're pretty
it got
good.
me. It got me pretty good. Strength finders.
But, you and I have been working with each other for a while now, right?
Yeah, it has
A
been
year
while.
now, actually. It's been a year. It's been 13 months. Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Do I owe you a raise. We give a raise every year. I owe you one. Oh, no, we did the standard one on the 1st of January. You're getting one 1st of January. Anyhow, we, you and I have worked together, and I think we understand our personalities quite a bit now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I know with you, I need to massage things a little bit and kind of give you the bear hug, burly hug kind of thing. And with me, it's more of I want the respect of listening to an input. And I'm not saying you don't do that. I'm sitting there saying, when I tell people, I'm like, I'm that typical type A personality where you say, hey, Paul, if it's okay with you, I'd like to suggest something.
Mm-hmm.
Not the, hey, Paul, you know what you should do? Great way for me to shut down.
Yeah.
Great way for me to shut down. You know what you should do? You should go fuck yourself. I mean, I can remember the first time I heard, you know what you should do. I still remember how old I was and like.
Write that down.
Seth, you got to say it to me like all the time. Hey, Paul, you know what you should fucking do? Here's what you should fucking do. But there's always different ways in which you approach people.
Skin a cat.
Yeah, multiple ways to skin a cat. And different people have different ways of which you skin their. What are we talking about skinning? You have to. We're not all the same people.
Yeah.
Micromanaging worked for some. I've tried some people tell me like, yeah, I prefer to be micromanaged. I respect that a lot. Because most people will sit there and say, I don't want to be micromanaged because they're trying to get away with something. Like, well, I'm less accountable, all these things. Yeah. It's like, okay, that's great. But some people just give me my task in order, just one at a time, and I'll go finish them. We have a great intern upstairs, Adam. He's never said I like to be micromanaged, but basically Adam does the best when he's micromanaged. Adam, go do this right now. Sounds good, be right back. 12 minutes later, done. Adam, go do this right now. Uh-huh. Or Adam, here are 8 tasks. These need to be done by the end of the day. And they're done. But tell Adam, here's a long project. Take 3 weeks to do it. 3 weeks from now, I'm like, Adam, what happened to that? Oh, I forgot all about it. I mean, and I'm being honest about it. I love Adam. He's great. But Adam is awesome for go do these 8 things right now and do not come back here until they're done.
That might be me. I mean, I almost take, when you say go do 8 things, I almost take that as more of a challenge. I got a PhD and I was there for 6 years and my advisor was very hands-off, God rest his soul, very old. I mean, he was just an older guy when I got there. And so it was literally like, go in this lab and come out when you have a PhD. I'll see you then. That was the guidance. I mean,
and that wasn't you.
Not at all. I mean, I just like instantly started like, well, all right, well, I have 6 years to get this done, so I'll just go play tennis for an hour, you know? I mean, like, what's it going to change, you know? So.
And I think that's a great way to look at it. But you saying that alone, it's funny. This weekend, Lisa and I were running errands, and at one point I said to her, we're splitting up because we're going to get more done in the next 2 hours. Because she's saying, like, well, I want to do it with you. I'm like, I get that. I want to as well. She goes, I want to spend quality. I go, but if we get this done right now.
We can spend even better quality time.
And she's like, oh, you're right. And of course, I took the challenge. I took 3 items. I gave her 1. I was done with my 3 items and at her house before she got with her 1. Now, granted, her 1 was a little more complicated, but I looked at it as a challenge of like, let me not speed. Let me go the speed. And I still got them done. And of course, I was talking shit to her. I was just like, I'm at your house waiting for you. And she's like, you know what, PG? And she starts getting, I'm like, don't get angry. Don't get angry. But you're right. It is a challenge, though.
Yeah.
And I think if a lot of people looked at it as that, it would be a lot more. Yeah, listen, Task Manager, our task management software, one thing I just had to get developers to change, I hated seeing the long list of things that were months away.
Yeah. I
sat there and said, guys, you need to allow me to have a filter where I only see today's tasks, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for everybody. Just focus on today's. Don't get yourself worked up because, oh my God, I have 18 things to do in the next 3 months. No. What do I have to finish today? When I finish today's items, then I go to what's due tomorrow and keep working down the list. Because I think you hit spot on. It's a challenge. And if people looked at it as a challenge,
yeah,
I've always joked to people and said, This is too micromanaging though. I'd love to give really low base salaries, but pay astronomical amounts of money for every task completed. How would you do that though? I have no idea.
You know, my kid's the same way. It's like you're just learning as your kids grow up what they're like. And so like my oldest Gio, like he will turn anything. You can't, he won't play catch. You can't play catch because now it's all right. If I drop one, it's a point. And if you drop one, eating, who can eat faster. But then to do anything long term, like he's 9, he still can't tie his shoes.
Seriously.
Can't. Like, just can't. Like I try, doesn't. The long form, I got him a guitar. He's never picked it up once because he's not that kid that's going to go sit in a room by himself and just go this long sort of challenge. Who's here? We need one of those live record, like one of those lights outside the studio that says live. So Tim just comes in like a bull in a china shop carrying a computer. But
there's a lot of value to that though for Gio.
Yeah, short-term basis.
But yeah,
like short-term tasks. I think that's what I'm better at as well.
So, we talk about Crossroads Creative, and we really haven't talked a ton about micromanaging, Tim, sorry, but with Crossroads Creative, you've got to look at the long term as a bunch of short term.
Yeah.
Same with Gio. Gio, you can't tie your shoe. Here's what we're going to learn first. All we're going to learn is looping, just the first part.
Loop.
Just this first part. That's it. That's all we're learning. And when you can do it 10 times in a row, I'll give you that $1.
Yeah, that's what he loves.
Right? You get to break it down into the way in which everybody likes doing their thing. You know what I mean? Let's think about it. How many people really like super long-term tasks?
Well, if you're hiding in the shadows, probably some people.
Listen, I like long-term projects, but guess what? I like seeing results day one.
I had friends who were super procrastinators, so a long-term task meant you didn't have to do anything until the night before.
Or the day of graduation, you're writing papers with your other 4 buddies. Shout out to our boy. That group chat's been very silent lately.
Well, people are busy. Kids go back to school.
Oh, true.
And I think it'll...
Isn't that less busy?
No, I mean, the kids,
Either way.
I have my first basketball practice tonight. I'm a coach.
Oh, wow.
So I'll be Googling how to coach basketball around 3:30 today, right before the practice. So
listen, but for Gio, like I said, if you break... Everybody has their learning style. We have to figure out how we do that, how we get the best results out of that learning style, right? And I would rather... Honestly, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I'm really not joking. I would rather have a bunch of people who get things done in the short term than a bunch of long-term thinkers. It's a balance. You've got to have, but you need more short-term get shit done people than you need long-term thinkers. I'm a very long-term thinker. I like to think about the long-term all the time, but guess what? I love hearing when I hear like with Mary, we talk about with Tim, talk about Dynasty Owner. I love hearing him come into my office and say, we got 16 things done this week so far. Right, Tim? 32. Shut the fuck up.
32? 32 tasks. Last week was...
We got 15 done the week before, and we got 32 done this week. Look at him clicking me. And it's not even done yet. We're not even done. Because our week ends Tuesday at 9:30. No, well, yeah. Prashant might get another thing or two. Oh, because Prashant, yeah, they're in India, so they're 9.5 hours ahead of us.
I see.
Holy shit. So listen to that, people. Tim micromanaged, and he got the devs to finish 32 things. In the previous week, we did 15.
So 10, 15, and 32 has been the week-to-week basis? Yeah.
Tim, I think you need to be on this podcast. I think you need to come here. Because I want to talk about... Oh, yeah, perfect. Get the microphone.
Let me get him on. Hold on.
Oh, hang on a second, folks. What should I do for the... So the reason this is important, guys, and the reason I'm bringing Tim on is we talked about this micromanaging. I brought up how I wanted Tim to micromanage, but now the question we're going to ask Tim, and we're going to bring him on, is to talk about how do we translate that micromanagement into less micromanagement in the future and just more on their own kind of getting shit done without us having a micromanage. That's incredible, Tim. So guys, we were averaging 10 things before. Then the first week we implemented a small process, got to 15. And in the second week, it's 32 items done. He might get to 33, 34. That's incredible. That means each guy did 10 things themselves, 11 things themselves. How do we get these guys now? Because I hate to say you did a great job micromanaging because everybody knows how much I hate micromanaging. But how are you going to get these guys now to not rely on you to dole out things one at a time or two at a time to them. And they just know when Tim assigns 10 things to me, I know I just start at number 1 and go down the list. And I know this is expected of me for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a process that's going to get refined over time, and get better and better. And communication, right?
Right.
That's how it's not just like, let me give you things and forget about it. That's dumping versus delegating, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So when I just give you a task and then never follow up, never check in, don't look for the result, don't care, that's dumping. I'm just dumping stuff on you versus delegating, here's the piece you need. So when I give out a piece and there's follow-up, and there's communication, and I care about the result, that's delegating.
And Tim does a great job caring about the result because he's on Dynasty Owner how many hours a day? I mean...
See, most people would think micromanaging has always been a negative term, but you're saying that it's interesting to hear in this case it's...
I hate micromanaging on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
It's a short-term solution.
Yeah, I look at this more as kind of just, it's training versus maybe...
You might be right.
Micromanaging. I mean,
so
it
I
might
guess
be
that's
a
the intent.
short-term micromanage, but I look at it as it's training for the long term, and what our expectations are. And
if they can't, what are we going to do?
if they can't, then, we'll get somebody else in that will do it.
And Tim was not here when I said that, but we're on the same page about that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've told Tim before, Tim's a really nice guy. And I will say Tim sometimes goes like, well, I feel bad saying that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Tim, the company is above us. You know what I mean? Dynasty Owner and Crossroads Group are above us. We need to make sure that we do what's necessary for the company to make it successful. Yeah. And, I made a decision recently on a really nice developer of ours. And I was like, listen, you can't be on this project anymore. He was like, what did I do? I'm like, listen, it was hard and blah, blah, blah. I brought him back on another project to say, listen, I'm going to give you a chance to rebound. But Tim would come to me and he's like, Paul, this guy's not getting shit done. You know what I mean? And it's like, and you felt bad when I was like, okay, I got to get rid of him. You're like, oh, but he's nice. I'm like, I know.
Well, because I think he cared.
There's a difference between, it's kind of like talent versus hard work, right? He can care, but if he doesn't do the right work, it doesn't matter. If you have all the talent in the world, but you're not working hard, how does that help you?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think you also you were working with a project recently that involved an automobile that had to come to the...
It's back, baby.
What?
I found somebody else to help us build it.
Oh, yeah, but you had a guy helping you build it, and it didn't turn out very well.
No, the car turned out great.
The experience.
The experience wasn't great. Exactly. This guy has all the knowledge in the world, and the experience was not good with them. So I had to move on. And I found somebody else who is my kind of guy. Like I'm literally trying to give him money to help us. He's like, oh, well, we'll talk about it later. He's literally trying to do it for free. I'm like, no, you cannot do it for free.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. And I look at that going, I went from one extreme of one guy I thought looked at me as dollars. Another guy now I have to literally
pay him money.
Literally tell him I'm going to give you money. He's like, just cover my tolls. I'm like, I'm not giving you $12 to come for a full day to work on building a car with me. You know what I mean? It's there's always these combinations. Our developers in India. So if I could speak candidly, they value that job very much, I think. The cost of living in India is an average of $2,000 per person. I think each one of those devs makes around $20,000, $25,000 per person. So as an example, to use the same relative scale, the average person in this country makes $55,000 a year. So it'd be like this developer making $550,000 a year. Now it's not exactly apples to apples. They're not living a $500,000 a year lifestyle,
sure,
but they're still living a pretty good lifestyle. They very much value these jobs, and the India team is a company, and they value our work. You know what I mean? So it's easier for us to go to them, Tim, and say and Tim does a great job. He wrote an email to the CEO of the company the other day. What did you say in the email?
So I just wanted to give him an update. I didn't want there to be surprises. It goes back to that communication thing. So there was one of the new devs that he's getting to know our project, but he was not producing at the same level as the other two. So I wanted to bring it to his attention and say, hey, first of all, we had a great week. That was giving him an update when we had 15 done. It was like, hey, we had a great week. Now it's going to be even better. But hey, it was a great week. These two other devs just really did a great job, took the lead, followed through. This other dev, he didn't push anything to final production, over the last 3-4 days. We were a little concerned about it. they were new modules, new things for him. And so, I chatted with the developer first. Then I sent the email to the CEO of the company and just kind of letting him know, hey, here's the conversations I had.
This is a big company. They have like 250 employees.
Did you see his response?
I didn't read it.
So he sent a response, and they were kind of just defending it a little bit, like, hey, he was working with some really hard projects and things, but he'll be sure to communicate with you better next time. I was like, okay, we'll
guess
work
what?
it out.
I take that as an excuse. But to me, it's better that it's on the radar now. Like, we're watching this. I mean, there's always a saying that, people care about the things you're going to measure. And Tim's now showing that he's measuring these. And now they know, like, okay, when Tim assigns us a task, he's measuring it as how many of those did I get done? Right?
You really love this guy.
Tim?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I fucking love Tim.
Say it again, Tim.
That was something I learned working in your profile, working on the real estate portfolio, was that people will only care, as much as you follow up with them. There's no, if you don't care, their commitment level is going to be really low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And following up, again, isn't micromanaging. Following up is just, I follow up with every single one of our businesses. I mean, we just talked about, just the other day, we talked about, as my role changed in the company, literally getting monthly presentation updates from the other three. Like, so my role has become more of like a chairman kind of role where, guys, you guys are in charge of the business, you run it, and then give me updates every month on the financials. And I told my brother, I said, listen, this is what I want. We have a budget every month and every year, right? Yes. If it's going to be a material difference from revenue or profit, I want to know as soon as possible. If I don't hear from you until the monthly recap, I assume we hit our revenue and profit goal or beat it. I don't want to, unless it's a material change. Like, when I say material change, 20% off, 10% off. Other than that, I'm great. I don't need to be involved in the day-to-day. Now, do we still talk about the long term? Absolutely. Tim and I work very well together because Tim has that great balance of long term, and I mean, his focus on the user experience of Dynasty Owner has been awesome, right, Tim? I mean, he's not going to pat himself on the back, but then also every single day singing Dynasty Owner and doing, this isn't working, this is working great. Oh my God, this is awesome. Oh my God, this sucks. That's hard. That's really, Seth, imagine if I told you, okay, Seth, go into Dynasty Owner and go through every single page, log in, try different things, and report all the mistakes on them and bugs. It's hard.
Yeah.
It takes a good detail-oriented person.
Man, what a podcast.
You like this one?
I was driving recently with Beth, and I'm not going to totally switch topics, but it's interesting to think. We talk about politics in this a lot.
Yeah. And
how rich people are taxed or how wealthier folks are taxed. And I marvel in the idea that, like, you kind of had, the economy's been going well for your businesses, so you started Learn From Us, you started Dynasty Owner, we started Crossroads Media, and because you had because you were an opportunity where your companies are doing well and you don't need to focus on them, you started close to 3 businesses that were now employing people all over the world. Our buddy Rohan, who does our editing.
Oh, yeah, Rohan. He's the man.
Our editor in India who edits the podcast just basically started a new company. And he's got promos and trailers for, promo videos for his company. And I'm just like, it's amazing that, like, yeah, I guess, like, you probably wouldn't. Anyway, I just thought that driving around, like, what you've just created in the past year just by having,
Well, but and not to be cheesy, but if I didn't have you, we wouldn't have this podcast. If I didn't have Tim, Dynasty Owner would be a fail right now. And I really 100% believe that. If I didn't have Mary managing the real estate, I wouldn't be able to fund the Dynasty Owner. If I didn't have Andrew helping out with CPR and the real, all these things it's the people around us now. And I'm not trying to be cheesy by saying, oh, the people around us make us better. I want to be the dumbest person in the room. I hate it when people say that. I just look at it and say, I want us to be around people who care about doing something really well. Right?
Love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And this podcast has been a ton of fun, and it's been a lot of fun, right?
It's incredible. Our 100th episode's coming up.
Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving. Yep. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us on Learn From Us. Check out dynastyowner.com if you want to do a different level of fantasy football. It's incredible. And yeah, follow us on YouTube. Love you guys.
Peace.